Uh, I'm going to request Natalie Singh to present a bouquet on behalf of the PGPX batch to Dr. Kalam.
Here I have a privilege of welcoming our esteemed leader, president who was the people's president, as he was popularly called. There is no other head of the state in the world who has met, I would say who has ignited the spark in 17 million young hearts. 17 million people he has met in the last 12 years.
20 years.
20 years. In 12 years, Sir has ignited a spark in 17 million young hearts. No other head of the state has met so many young people. And there's a purpose, because he believes that there's only one crime that we can all commit, which is to have small aims. I thank you, sir, for taking this time out, and I'll request Anurag to mention a few words about the PGPX program.
It's a proud privilege, and it's a sort of a dream come true. And when we got to know that you have given your consent, everyone was a bit so much excited, and we didn't know that it's really going to happen. So here are 85 of the students who are like diamonds.
It's not 85, more than 85.
There are many more.
There are many more.
Double.
And
Double.
so just a bit of polishing is needed, and your kind words are of course going to ignite those minds, and so many others also. So welcome to the Institute and welcome to this program.
Friends, I'm very happy to meet all. How many PGPX? Lift your hand, PGPX. Okay. Equal number non-PGPX. Okay. Now, I am delighted to address and interact with the students of, understand you are 9th batch of PGPX, right? From the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. I would like to greet the professor, all of you, students and teachers. Of course, I have written something about IIM Ahmedabad. It's a great institution, great in every respect. And when I'm in the midst of students who are experienced executive, spread across the 10 different places, with combined work experience of 10,000 months, I thought about what topic I can discuss with all of you. Hence, dear friends, I would like to share a few thoughts on dynamics of leadership. What is the topic? Dynamics of leadership. Very good, dynamics of leadership. Now, when I was taking lunch, one of your students asked me, yourself, a student asked me some leadership quality. A child to the leader. Child to leader. That's a fantastic. So you imagine a situation, a human situation. There's a child, there's a teenager, and there's a grown-up fellow or girl, and the leader. How many guys you have got? 4 guys. Child, teenager, experienced, and the leader. Now there's a human need. How each one reacts. How each one reacts. The child says, you give me. Isn't it? Child, the beautiful thing is there in front of it. Child says, you give me. Whereas the teenager says, you know, most of you have gone through the teenage life. Leave us alone, I will do it. Okay? Teenager says, don't disturb us, I will do it. The grown-up reasonable fellow, he says, let us work together. Okay? The child you have, very good. Very nice to see a child. Now the leader, can you imagine what he will what he will say? Can you imagine? Leader will say, what can I give? Do you understand? What can I give? The child said, you give me. Teenager said, you leave me alone, I will do it. Whereas the grown-up said, we'll work together. The leader said, what can I give? What can I give? What is the opposite of what can I give? What can I? What can I? That is the problem in our pre-election period agenda. You follow? The agenda was, how do you transform India from what you will give me to what can I give you? Do you follow? Yeah? You all followed? So whether we are going to win the game, it's a different issue. But definitely India wants people. When you people have come here for a course, after leaving all your job, well, very good position you are there. You have come here, why? Why you have come here? As a teacher, I want to tell you, you have come here to learn what can I give. If you learn that what can I give, India has, you have arrived, India has arrived, and even the world has arrived. Our problem today, what can I give? People have elected members of parliament to transform into the leaders with the mind and culture, what can I give? Am I right? Yes or no? Yes, sir. That what can I give environment will make India leaders who govern the free from corruption, because you are not taking what you can give. Free from corruption, progress towards economically developed nation. Both are linked. What can I give and what economically developed nation. It's true also industries, academies, and 200 million homes we have. It is true to 200 million homes. Each home has got 5 people, father, mother, 2 daughter, 1 son, or 2 sons, 1 daughter. So 200 million homes. So today we have a necessity, every home, if you want a beautiful India, happy India, and prosperous India will be born the day we all transform ourselves. What can I give? Any questions on that? Any question on that? Quick question. That means you are all agreeing with me. Simply you are agreeing with me. I thought you will shoot some questions. Okay. Now I am going to talk to you next subject. When you go out of this classroom, you are going out one thought, what can I give? Right? Yes, sir. It is put in your brain, you have put it, what can I give? What can I take, you have removed. You have removed your brain, what can I take? You are carrying a message, what can I give? Is it, sir? Okay. Anil Gupta or Anurag. Okay. Now I am going to talk to you what worked yesterday will not work today. What worked yesterday will not work today. This is based not my story. It's based on a book I modified for your this gathering. Dear friend, I was studying a book. Name of the book, Empires of the Mind. I don't know how many of you read the book, Empires of the Mind. Anybody can read it? One guy, one fellow, good fellow, you have read the book. And the name of the author, Dennis Waitley. This book gives what type of new world which we are facing now. What was yesterday, what is today. I have modified certain points of the author to suit the occasion today. I have also added a third line which relates to action of leadership. The book specially says, the message of the book, I don't know whether you fellow read it correctly. The book specially says what worked yesterday won't work today. That's a big message the book says. Now, I am going to give you knowledge society, because India is going to enter into a knowledge society. Many countries are entering into knowledge society. Now, what is the role of leadership in a knowledge society? Because we have to enter into knowledge society. We have already entered, but long way to go. Now, you have to interact with me, okay? You have to interact with me. Don't be silent, okay? Yesterday, natural resources defined power. Yesterday, natural resources defined the power. Today, okay? Very good, fellows, very good. Today, knowledge is the power. That means leaders should empower itself with knowledge. What an example. You take Singapore, you take Japan. They don't have resource. Resource go from all parts of the world. But the leadership has come as an economically developed nation because of knowledge, because of knowledge. Now, the message I want to give to all of you, including our academic chiefs, leader should empower itself with knowledge. Knowledge is going to be a very important factor. I define knowledge in a different way. Knowledge is equal to, I have developed an equation. Knowledge is equal to creativity plus righteousness in the heart plus courage. That's the equation, knowledge. Knowledge equal to creativity plus righteousness in the heart. I am going to define afterwards. Plus courage, for particularly young people, courage. Because you will face a lot of problems. But problem should not be your captain. You should become captain of the problem, defeat the problem and succeed. That's a leadership quality. Follow? Yes, sir. As a leader, repeat with me, as a leader, I will become captain of any problem, or defeat the problem, and succeed. That is the real knowledge society. So, next point, yesterday, hierarchy was the model. Hierarchy was the, here. Yesterday, hierarchy was the model. Today, synergy is the mandate. Isn't it? Yes. Everywhere people want to work together. Today, synergy is mandate. That means leader will be the enabler. Leader will be the enabler for intersection of the multiple faculties towards mission goals. For example, I was in 1954, none of you were available, I think, 1954. I was in the Madras Institute of Technology. There one Professor Srinivasan called 9 of us in the aeronautics faculty. He said, you fellows, you are the final year, 1954 to 57. I am going to give you a project. 6-month project, you should finish it. That is low-level attack aircraft, design of a low-level attack aircraft, a Mach 1.5. You should design a preliminary design, 9 fellows. Who are the 9 fellows? I am one of the fellows. The other 8 fellows were propulsion, aerodynamics, structure, guidance, control. Aerodynamics myself. So all have been asked, 9 fellows have been asked, the faculty, to design a low-level attack aircraft. So we started those days, no computer, 1954. Okay? We used what is called, I don't know whether you heard of it, in museum now, slide rule. We used slide rule and logbook, okay? And it was big calculation those days we did, okay? So with that our base and all the other 8 fellows, I have been nominated the leader of the team. We worked very hard. 5th month came. My teacher, Professor Srinivasan, who was going to the tennis court the morning, Sunday, he landed to my lab. He reviewed our job. In 5th month, he said, hopeless output. Because in Madras, there is an electric train, metro is there. There in 1950s, the electric train is there. Most of the fellows disappear at the beach. Okay? Saturday, Sunday, I can't hold them, even though I was leader of the team. So we had difficulties to bring together leadership quality needed. All the 9 fellows have to, I was the 8 fellows have to bring it. And he said, Kalam, you are the leader of the team. You have to lose your scholarship. If only 1 month more, you fellows have to do the job. We worked very hard. We worked very hard. And day and night I assembled all my fellows. 2 fellows from Punjab, very tough guys. And 2 fellows from Andhra Pradesh. 3 fellows to Tamil Nadu. Other from various places they have come. So we worked together. And almost a week before, we were ready. We were ready. My professor landed there, Professor Srinivasan, went through nearly 1.5 hours, patiently saw the drawings, he saw the calculations. He said, you fellows have done a fantastic job. Not only that, he said that, he took us to his house, he gave us a Madras coffee, very good coffee he gave. We enjoyed it with vada and all those things. But that's not important. What is important is, as young fellows, you must understand, young fellows or grown-up fellows, you should understand, what we learned that project, system design, system integration, system management. What did we learn? System design, system integration, system management we learned. So friends, that is how the leaders, command and control, leaders empower and coach. Next one, leader, yesterday shareholders came first. Today, this you know. Today, very good, that you should know. Leader should inculcate sensitivity to the needs of all the stakeholders. Yesterday, employees took order. Yesterday's employees in a factory environment, industrial environment, government environment, you will find yesterday employees took order. Today, can you guess? Today, teams make decisions. That means leader will promote team spirit. Yesterday, seniority signified status. Yesterday. Today, a 30 years fellow, 35 years fellow, he can become a CEO of an organization. Okay? What is the message? Message is today, creativity drives the status. If you are a creative fellow or a creative girl, then you have arrived. That means today, creativity drives the status. That means institution like IIM Ahmedabad will be, leaders will be judged by the innovation and creativity. Innovation and creativity. Yesterday, production determined the availability. Today, can you guess? In your field, competitiveness is the key. That means leaders will constantly evolve competitiveness with knowledge, management and technology. Yesterday, value was extra. Yesterday, value was extra. Today, value is everything. Leaders will have the priority, inculcate the value addition to every level. Yesterday, everyone is a competitor. Today, everyone is a customer. Leaders will value feedback and act based on that feedback. Last point, very important point. This message you all have to carry. Yesterday, profits were earned through expediencies. Today, work with integrity and succeed with integrity. Repeat it to me, all of you. Second lesson, I will work with integrity and succeed with integrity. Tough job, isn't it? Tough world. In tough world, a tough job I have given you. First point I have given you, leadership. Okay? Leadership, quality. Second point I have given you, I will work with, when you go out of this classroom, you are going, I will work with integrity and succeed with integrity. Very tough. You will work with integrity. Succeeding, very tough. But that is the environment it demands. Now friends, leaders have to practice and spread the concept of work with integrity and succeed with integrity and act as a promoters of such culture among other teams. I have seen. I have worked with such type of people. They work with integrity and succeed. Exceptional people. Of course, they are exceptional. When I see the creative, experienced minds of the PGPX 9th batch, I am thinking, what drives the culture of excellence? That is innovation and creativity. That is culture of excellence. That is innovation, creativity drives them. Let us see what connectivity between the economic development and creative leadership. Dear friends, here I am connecting the competitiveness and creative leadership through certain well-known methodologies. You can participate in the evolution of a competitive world to a creative leadership. Prosperity of the nation, for India, example you take, prosperity of India is empowered by economic development and great human character. Do you agree? Any objection? See, we need prosperity. Also, we need great citizens. Do you follow? If great citizen is not there, what is the use of prosperity? So, whenever I talk about India, economically developed nation, I talk about India not only economically developed, people also, they are developed as a good human beings through righteousness, which I am going to talk to you. I would like to discuss, this is a third point you are going to carry with you. I would like to discuss the linkage between the nation's economic development and creative leadership. You want economic development of the nation, and one side economic development and creative leadership. How to connect them? How to connect them? No, I am trying to connect, okay? And you can follow that. A nation's economic development is powered by, yes, nation's economic development is powered by competitiveness. Nation's economic development, it cannot come just like that. You have to compete. Is powered by competitiveness. Now, competitiveness is powered by what? Competitiveness is powered by knowledge power. Competitiveness is powered by knowledge. It's coming here? You are a good guy. So, competitiveness is powered by knowledge power. Now, knowledge power, now you put it, knowledge power is powered by technology and innovation. Knowledge power is powered by technology innovation. Technology innovation is powered by, can you guess? Resource investment. Without money, technology will be in the cupboard. Isn't that? So, technology and innovation is powered by resource investment. Resource investment is, these are all you have to understand that. It's your terms. Resource investment is powered by, correct, return on investment. Okay, return on investment. Return on investment is powered by revenue. How much money you get. Okay, revenue. Revenue is powered by volume and repeat sales. Now, volume and repeat sales is powered by your customer loyalty. Customers should believe it's a good product. You will pay any amount. Volume and repeat sales is powered by customer loyalty. Customer loyalty, it will be in my website, don't worry, no, you don't need to take website. No, it is my www.abdulkalam.com. It will be the website in a few hours. Customer loyalty is powered by volume and repeat sales powered by customer loyalty. Customer loyalty is powered by very good quality and value of the products. Quality and value of products. Now, quality and value of product is powered by employee productivity and innovation. Employee, even he may be a lathe operator, but he has his quality and value is powered by employee productivity innovation. Employee productivity is powered by this stuff. Employee productivity is powered by employee loyalty. Employee loyalty. You saw there. You see there? Whether if I don't clear, you can see there. Employee loyalty is powered by employee satisfaction. Employee satisfaction. Employee satisfaction is powered by type of working environment. You have got an air-conditioned room. Go outside, how much it is feel. The working environment is powered by management innovation. While we are creating such an environment for you guys, there are people, hundreds and hundreds are working the hot sun, 42, 43 degrees centigrade. You have to see. Now, the next, we went up. Hello? Next part. The working environment is powered by management innovation. Here only you all come. Working environment, good environment, not only for us, for teachers and the student, hundreds of people working for you. So management innovation. Management innovation is powered by creativity. Where did I start? Where did I start? I started with national economic development is powered by. I started economic development. Where I landed? I landed to creative leadership. That means each one of you who are assembled here, India needs you as a creative leader. Each one of you has to be a creative leader. Not the same field, different fields. Now, for success in all missions of India, it is essential to have creative leaders. Creative leadership means, now I am defining, creative leadership means exercising the vision to change the traditional role from the commander to coach. Creative leader is not a commander. Okay? He's not a military officer. He's not a commander, he's a coach. Manager to mentor. Creative leader is not a manager. He or she is a mentor. Creative leader is not a director. From director to delegator. From director to, I read it. Creative leadership means exercising the vision to change the traditional role from the commander to coach, manager to mentor, from director to delegator, and from one who demands respect to one who facilitates self-respect. For evolving a sustainable economic system, we need a large number of creative leaders. No, not this number. We need thousands of creative leaders. Why you need creative leaders? We need creative leaders in multiple domains to make the nation economically developed nation by 2020. Today you are 2014, another 6 years. But challenge comes in short period, you have to do that. So friends, now you know creative leadership. What do you know of so far? 3 things you knew. What are the 3 things? Leadership quality, leadership I define. Second one. Third one. You say what is it? What is the third thing so far I have said?
Linkage between economic development and creative leadership.
This one, last one, previous two.
Great, now I feel like
he was a student in those days with me and with Anil Gupta.
And what worked yesterday will not work today. And then the leader who is, what can I give? A leader always asks, what can I give you? So
anyway, whatever you people understood. Now, with this ambience, let me give my visualization of India. During the year, some of you asked this question, 2020, very short period is there. We are already 14. In 6 years' time, fortunately a new government also has come, which will enable you to take up one or more of the pillars as your mission for national development. It's not simply you are hearing me. After hearing me, when you go out, you will go with an idea, one of the pillars, 10 pillars I am going to talk to you. You are going, you or alone or team, you will take up that pillar and start working on that, okay? It's not one-sided. Now, with this campaign, let me give my visualization of India during the year 2020, which will enable you to take up one or more of the pillars as your mission for national development. Now, I am going to give you a distinctive profile of the nation by 2020. Okay? I am going to give you 10 pillars I am going to give you. The idea is any one of you or many of you can join, then sure, you can work it afterwards. After cell, you close the cell. When is the next meeting? Next meeting? So time when is there, you have to tell me. Now, distinct profile of the nation by 2020. What we visualize, that is nearly 500 members. In 1990s, different fields they worked together. I was the chairman of the team and worked India 2020 vision. It was presented to the Prime Minister and his cabinet, and it was announced in Parliament. We will take up the mission. By the time number of governments came, and there's a problem. Now, distinct profile of the nation by 2020. Number one, where in a nation where the rural and urban divide has reduced a thin line. Where the rural and urban divide has reduced a thin line. India has got 600,000 villages. You are all urban fellows. Most of you are urban fellows. Am I right? Urban fellows. But you should know, there are 600,000 villages. There were 700 million people live there. 70% of India lives there. Now, how do you connect them? You have to give the physical connectivity. You have to give the electronic connectivity. You have to give the knowledge connectivity so that the economic connectivity will come. Second, a nation where there is an equitable distribution and adequate access to energy and quality water. Energy and quality water. Quality water, we have recently arrived at a smart waterway. Smart waterway means all the river water bodies, not only the rivers, any lakes and water bodies, connect all of them. And we generate the not only water, but at the drought time there will be water, and also flood time management of water will be there, and also power generation. And the energy level. Energy level, I am pushing an idea what is called energy independence. Energy independence means that is you go away from dirty energy. That is you go for the solar power, wind power. And this state where you are, just go about 400 kilometers away, there is a place, one single place, they generate 400 megawatt power of solar power. One single place. And in the whole country today, they are generating 4,000 megawatt of power. But we need large number of power. So, the nation where education, next one, nation with the education, a nation where agriculture, industry and service sector work together in symphony. This is only India produces 260 million tons of food. You know how many people we use? 600 million people, farmers, part-time. 600, any time have you questioned that point? How can to produce 260 million tons of food, you can use 600 million farmers? Too many. That means our productivity has increased, and probably GM area we have to go, genetically modified. And also our farmers, many of them have to do the value addition work. They have to do, that is not only they get a grain or vegetable fruit, they have to do the value addition through cooperative movement. Next one, nation where education value system is not denied to any meritorious candidate because of societal or economic discrimination. This I am not going to deal with, you all know. A nation which is the best destination for the most talented scholars, scientists, investors. A nation where the best of healthcare is available to all. A nation where the governance is responsive, transparent and corruption free. You have seen what are the leadership quality already for that. A nation where poverty has been totally eradicated, illiteracy removed and crimes against women and children are absent and none in the society feels alienated. A nation that is prosperous, healthy, secure, devoid of terrorism, peaceful, happy and continues with a sustainable growth path. After all, you have to work for sustainable growth path. Last one, a nation That is one of the best places to live in and is proud of its leadership. You must be proud of its leadership. I hope such thing will happen in future. Now, how do you do that? To achieve the distinct profile of India, the next slide. Distinct profile of India, this guy. To achieve the distinct profile of India, we have the mission of transforming India into a developed nation. We have identified 5 areas. Okay? 5 areas where India has a core competence for integrated action. Number 1, agriculture and food processing. We produce 260 million tons of food. But our farmers are not happy. You go to them, they will say that our son and daughter will not go for agriculture. They want to put them in the service sector or service sector or industry. So the second one, the education and healthcare. Education, particularly human education in India is very important. Third one, information communication technology. Because 600,000 villages there, the information communication technology is very vital. Fourth and primary requirement for India, infrastructure, reliable and quality electric power, surface transport, and infrastructure for all parts of the country. Last but most important, self-reliant critical technology, because at that time India became a nuclear weapon state. The whole world, developed world said, we will not give you technology, we will not give you economic assistance. But we stood, we won. These 5 areas are correlated, and progress in an integrated way will lead to overall national progress and development. You may add, I have put 3 areas, you may have put 5 areas, you may have put 60 areas, 70 areas. Now, I want to talk to you. See, my friend Professor Anil Gupta told that I have met about 17.5 million youth last 2 decades. That means every month I meet 100,000 people. And that means in a year you meet 1 million people. Mostly young fellows. Either they are schools, secondary schools or colleges, this type of fellows. Now, on 19th January 2011, I visited Amaravati, Maharashtra to attend the program organized by Satpura Shikshan Prasad Mandal to address 1 lakh youth assembled over there. 1 lakh in front of me, imagine. Very tough to handle. 1 lakh people. I gave a talk on the subject, I am unique. I am? Unique. Are you unique? Yes. You see this light, you look up. When you see the light and bulb, you remember a guy. Very good. Fantastic guys, you are all Thomas Alva Edison, remember. When every day Ahmedabad some aircraft fly. When the aircraft flies, immediately remember? Wright brothers. Wright brothers 1903, when they flew the aircraft few seconds, a famous scientist was there, Lord Kelvin. I hope you heard about him. Lord Kelvin, he was a Royal Society chairman in 1890. He said anything heavier than air cannot be flown. Great scientist says, anything heavier than air cannot be flown. But Wright brothers flew it. So don't go near any pessimist fellows. It cannot be done, you don't go to them. Okay? Everything in science is possible. Now, there is only lady who got 2 Nobel Prize. Only lady. Madam Curie got 2 Nobel Prize, one for discovery of radium, another for characterizing all the radium matter. Then today you are all carrying mobile telephone, isn't it? Telephone. As soon as telephone, you remember one guy, Alexander Graham Bell. Last week I was the university where he worked, Alexander Graham Bell, at the University of Edinburgh. I was there. Myself, this guy was there, Edinburgh. We saw his room where he worked. In those days, no laboratory. He built the telephone in his brain. Then one scientist, Indian scientist. That guy was traveling from London to Calcutta in 1929. Now, nothing is there except ship. So he traveling in the ship. When he reached Calcutta, he saw sun was shining. Look at the sea. He saw sea was blue at the horizon and sky was blue. He asked a question, why sky is blue? Why sea is blue? For that he has to work 7 years. And he got a Nobel Prize for his work and for backscattering of the light. Why I am telling that? These people are unique people. Do you follow? Because you remember them. When you take the telephone, you remember them. When you see the electricity, you remember them. When you see the aircraft, you remember them. When you see the radio application, you remember them. They are unique people. How many of you want to become unique? How many of you want to become unique? At least dream. At least dream. So the question is, I have studied all the unique people life. What is the uniqueness of the unique people? I found 4 qualities. All their biography I have seen. Their number 1, they had great aim in life. They had great, no, small aim is a crime. They had great aim in life. Alexander Graham Bell said he did not have a lab to build a telephone. He built the telephone on his brain. Okay? And so friends, these people had a unique qualities you too can have. One is great aim, another continuously they acquired the knowledge. Acquired the knowledge through great books, great human beings, great teachers. Continuously they acquired the knowledge. Third one, of course, all of you do hard work. Hard work. Fourth one, what is called perseverance. Perseverance, that means I will become the captain of the problem, defeat the problem and succeed. These 4 qualities if you have, you can become unique. Every one of you can become. What are the 4 qualities? Great aim, continuously acquiring the knowledge, hard work, perseverance, defeat the problem and succeed. So friend, now I have left the point and went somewhere else. Now dynamics of the youth mind. On 19th January 2011, I visited Amravati to attend the program organized by one organization, Maharashtra organized to address 1 lakh youth assembled there. I gave a talk, I am unique, that I jumped from there. When I asked them to lift their hands, 90% of the students said, I want to become unique. Then I have to tell them how to become unique. Now I want to tell you, this you will experience as experienced people you are all. There, one boy got up. Mr. Kalam, tell me, China advancing better way, higher way in all respects, but India is not advancing. Why? This fellow asked, everybody clapped. 1 lakh people also clapped at this question. They thought Kalam will not answer. Now, how do you answer? Any one of you have got an answer? I said, I have to think for some time. I said, it's a fantastic question. But I told him, you see, democracy has got its plus point. Also minus point because there's a parliament is there, assembly is there, you have to get through that one. So it all depends finally the leadership. Now I give you 2 options. I asked 1 lakh people, I give 2 options. One option is what is Chinese political philosophy. I won't say what it is. Chinese political philosophy. Another option, I will give you democracy with creative leadership, fast creative leadership. Which one you guys like? I voted. I gave for a voting. 99.9% of lakh of people, they said we want democracy with fast decision making. So the question is whether you are assembled here. Can I call you? You are in democratic country. Will you take a fast decision? See, we were in a democracy. We have to move the files. But we took a fast decision because we said, if you have to do SME3 or Agni program, we need a board of management system. We went to cabinet. Cabinet approved the board of management system and what type of young manpower, human manpower, what is the type of schedule, how much of money, all these things we got won't go. Then you are away from filing system. So there's a possibility in democracy also to move fast. Okay, that is some of our projects for agriculture. How do you produce 60 million tons of food today? It's a success story of farmers. But of course, these are too many people we are using. Now, friends, with this, when I asked, so this context, now the reason, why not you tell your experience? Okay. Now, this fellow, recently, we worked together, wished to share the recent experience of my friend Srijan Pal Singh. He is the student of Professor Anil Gupta, who was selected as a global leader. He was selected as a global leader to attend St. Gallen Leadership Symposium. At what place? Switzerland. St. Gallen Leadership Symposium earlier this month. In a symposium, I understand there were 200 leaders were invited from all across the global discussion on the class of generation. The subject was class of generation or conflict of society. 3 key lessons which my friend shared with me. First, the youth, regardless of their nationality, wants to see a world where the corporation and industry are aware not only to needs of the consumer, but also conscious of the concerns of the planet and generation to come. That means you have to have a clean energy environment. Second, youth believe that no nation, big or small, they all have a right to be heard and heeded on a global platform. Third, the youth want democracy. Most of them want democracy, regardless of their nationality. Similarly, last week when I was in Edinburgh, okay, that I already shared with you. Now, let me focus on what sort of creative leaders we need to make this nation great. You are all of you concerned about it. Friends, I have seen 3 dreams in my friend, which have taken shape as a vision, mission, and realization. I have seen the pleasure and pain. One is space program, where I was the project director. The first satellite launch vehicle put a satellite in the orbit. Of course, first flight was a 100% failure. In 1980, we succeeded. Then success went to ISRO in a big way. Then Agni program, when I left, I did for DRDO 2,000 kilometer range. You can deliver any payload. Now my young fellows, they have done 5,000 kilometers. They can reach 5,000 kilometers. Third program is my pet program called Pura. Pura means I told you already 600,000 villages are there in the country. 700 million people live. So Pura is providing urban amenities rural area. It's a successful program. Government has adapted this program. We discussed in the GRID program also in IIM Ahmedabad. Now, if you ask me, when you do these 3 programs, ISRO's program, Agni program DRDO, National program of Pura providing urban amenities rural area, what did you learn? Suppose you ask me a question, what did you learn? I am going to tell you what I have learned. Number 1, leader must have a vision. One of the quality of the leader, you must have vision. You must think ahead. At 20 years ahead. And I have seen such leaders. Leader must have a passion to relate. Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, he is from Gujarat. Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, he was giving us a vision to put a communication satellite in 1960s, that India should go for a communication satellite. It happened 1980s in the world. Today, India has launched 12 communication satellites nearly 200 transponders in the geosynchronous orbit. And space probe, that fellow, that's Mars space probe, is advancing towards Mars. Probably September end, it will go into the orbit. Such a stage we have reached. So they are a visionary. Leader must have passion to realize the vision. And leader must be able to travel into an unexplored path. Leader never travel an explored path. He or she travel unexplored path. Leader must know how to manage success and failure. Success, fantastically you can manage. But failure management, very tough. I have seen a failure after 8 years of hard work with thousands of engineers. When you launch a rocket and rocket goes to Bay of Bengal, how do you come out of it? How do you come out of it? Because there was a leader. The leader was Professor Satish Dhawan. On the day of failure, he took me to the press conference. He said, we have failed today. We could not put a satellite in the orbit. But in a year we are going to do. But of course, media, democratic media, said you have put so many crores in the Bay of Bengal. They could say that. But he said in a year's time we are going to say. In a year when we succeeded, same Professor Satish Dhawan asked me to go and conduct the press conference. He didn't come. Can you see that? When success came, failure came, leader absorbs the failure. When success came, he gives to his team members. So when you all assembled here as a students, after all your experience, one of the greatest experiences is the leader absorbs the failure. The leader gives the success to his people, team, his or her team. That's a message I want to give you. So, friends, this is what the story. Now I have described each one. Courageous leadership I have explained. Courageous leadership I have explained. Then I have explained in my life various type of people. Next it heading, passion to realize the vision, that managing director of metro station. Ability in management, Professor Prem Prakash, I worked with him, he was my director. How in failure time he behaved. And ethics. Now friends, today when I speak in front of you, a gathering of accomplished executives, you were working for a global company, a childhood memory emerges to me. That is, ethics are fundamental. Do you follow that? Ethics are fundamental. See, I was a small fellow, 1950, 47, 48, just the freedom we got. I was studying in my room. On that day, my father became Panchayat Board President. He was not a rich man. He lived 103 years, but he was considered to be a noble man in the village. Irrespective of caste, community, religion, they elected him Panchayat Board President on that day. The event took place on that day. On that day, evening, about 4:30, 5 o'clock, a guy comes and knocks at our door. Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram, you know, it's a holy place. You must go at least once. So, in those days, we don't lock the door. Ramesh said, now we lock. Those days, we don't lock. So, you opened, came. He said, where is your father? I said, father has gone for namaz. It's the evening time. He went for prayer. I've got something for you, for your father. Can I leave it here? I shouted for my mother. Mother also did not respond because mother also was in namaz, in prayer. So I said, you leave it and go. So that fellow left it and go. I didn't know what it is because I was reading interesting geography, boring subject I was reading. So I was reading, next day exam. So my father came after namaz 6:15. He asked, what is it on my cot? I said, I don't know. A fellow came. He kept here for you. He opened. There is what is there inside? Lot of silver cups, a angavastram, Jarige Aggavastram, lot of fruits. First time I saw, I was the last fellow for my father. The love was mutual, but he was angry. I had a thorough beating. I didn't know why he is beating me. Then he explained, son, you have committed a mistake. Without permission, you should not get any gift. I got frightened, started weeping. My mother embraced and consoled me. Then my father came, touched my shoulder, lovingly, with affection, advised me not to receive. I thought of telling you this story, not to receive any gift without his permission. He quoted an Islamic hadith, which states, when the Almighty appoints a person to a position, he takes care of his provision. If a person takes anything beyond that, it's an illegal gain. That is, my father became a president of Panchayat board. On that day he gave that. Okay? Do you follow why he brought this costly thing? You know that, now you'll understand. So then he told me it's not good habit, my father said. He is no more. He's 103 years he lived. Gift is always accompanied by, he said, gift is always accompanied by some purpose. Gift is a dangerous thing. It is like touching a snake and getting the poison in turn. This lesson stands out always in my mind. Whenever some fellow brings to me, first thing a fear comes to me because I got a beating. So now friends, this incident taught me a very valuable lesson for my life. It is deeply embedded in my mind. It's young age. I am sharing this thought with all of you. Since no one should get carried away by any gift which comes with a purpose, through which one loses his personality seriously. Manu, I don't know how many of you know Manu. Manusmriti states, by accepting the gift, the divine light in the person gets extinguished. Manu Nidhi says, by accepting the gift, the divine light in the person gets extinguished. Manu warns every individual against accepting gift for the reason that places the acceptor under the obligation in favor of the person who gives a gift, and ultimately it results in making the person to do things which are not permitted according to the law. This is the foundation of a good life. I hope I got a message, or you didn't get a message. This is a fantastic message I got. For that I got something more I got, which you have not got. Now finally friends, I want to tell you, see, when you go out of this classroom, you are going to carry with you what is called righteousness in the heart. Number one, you learn how to make the nation developed, economically developed. I have given the series of action. Now I am going to give you how to good human beings we need. Okay? Or no? Yes. You don't want good human beings? We need good human beings. Now will you repeat with me, all of you? Yes. You have taken lunch today? Yes. Where there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. Harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. Did you observe? Did you observe? If you have one quality, you have beauty in the character. If you have one quality, you have harmony in the home. If you have one quality, you have order in the nation. If you have one quality, you have peace in the world. What is the one quality? Now questioning who will give that? Isn't it? Naturally, you will ask me, righteous in the heart, who will give? I see two children here, one there, one there. Righteous in the heart, only 3 people can give. up to age 17. Beyond that you cannot give. Too late. Okay? Two people, father, mother in a spiritual environment. Father, mother in a spiritual environment. Third one, the great primary school teacher. Primary school teacher. These are the three people can give you the righteousness in the heart. So friends, I wish all of you, you are not too late, still you can work for righteous in the heart, okay? And righteous, after all, what is righteous in the heart? You must think what I have given you the definition properly. Dear friend, at this stage, before conclusion, I would like to recall, since you are all who come to IIM Ahmedabad, thinking is a great institution of management, number 1 in India, isn't it? Yes. Number 1 in India? Yes. Number 7 in the world, something like that. 7 correct? So in such an institution you have come to learn something project management, leadership quality, something new you want to learn. But I want to give you a 2,500 years back. A one soul lived here in this country. 2,500 years back. He is Maharishi Patanjali. Maharishi? Yoga Sutra, have you heard about it? Yoga. He is the author of Yoga Sutra. In Yoga Sutra he says, Maharishi Patanjali says, watch what I am saying. No project leader, no big institution in this country has taught that. He teaches 2,500 years back for Indians. Maharishi says, when you are inspired, see there, when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bounds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your consciousness expands in every direction. And you find yourself in a new, great and wonderful world. He didn't stop there. Maharishi says, dormant forces, faculties and talents come alive and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamt yourself to be. 2,500 years back. And Indian soil this was told. That's why you should be guru. India has to be a guru. You missed that. My best wishes to all the students of 9th batch PGPX of IIM Ahmedabad. Success in their mission of making India a nation that is one of the best places to live in and is proud of its leadership. May God bless you all, friends. Now, this is sufficient. Okay, sit down. Now I can take some questions.
So I'm
get up.
Yeah. Hi, hello sir. I'm Sandeep from PGPX9. One thing that really intrigued me is you talked about innovation at grassroots level, at management, at personal level. How do we take this innovation to the generation that is just born? How do we take innovation to somebody who's in grade 2 or something? And how do we pull them all the way through and show them this vision that you've just shown us?
Well, I personally believe, see, at various levels you have to do. Our Professor Anil Gupta has introduced Ignited Minds, an award, Ignited Minds, about 50 to 60 people every year he gives the award. They are all grassroots people, the schools, they come from schools. Another award we given to grassroots people he gives. So we have to locate, we have to appreciate, locate and appreciate. And definitely it's possible. And of course, another means is you elect the right type of people. Okay? Elect right type of people. After all, you elect assembly member. Assembly member should know what he should do, how many water tanks he has to purify, how many primary school he has to man the teachers, he or she. So every level you can play a role. See, you are here, you go tomorrow, you come from a city or a village. Study the village, they need a lot. lot of your knowledge. Not only urban people need your knowledge, village people need more knowledge, your knowledge. So you spread the knowledge, radiate the knowledge, okay? No, first row over, second row, third row.
Hello, sir. My name is Tarun. Sir, sir, I was very impressed with this presentation, and I just had one question.
What is the question?
The question was, sir, you had said describe the qualities of leadership of leader, and you had stated 2 points. One was the leader should travel the unexplored path, and the second was the leader should be ethical. But what if there is a conflict between these two qualities? I am specifically referring to your line of work. For example, if you talk of things like weaponization of space, there is an ethical dilemma. At the same time, it's an unexplored area where other countries are like US and China are working very fast. So as a leader in India, what should be the response, for example, in the area of weaponization of space? Is it unethical, but should we follow that path?
See, you study, IIM may not have history book. You have history book? Do you have, sir, in your library? Yes. Take a history book. India's history. Take 6,000 years of India's history. We were ruled by others by 4,500 years. Except Chandragupta Maurya's time. Throughout we were ruled by our kings from other nations. Okay? Why? Why? Because we didn't understand the principle that strength respects strength. So we have to minimize our requirement today. It doesn't mean we are going away from development. To do a development, you need peace. You need the peace, you need strength. Strength comes from certain weaponry, okay? Strength from intellect, strength comes from weaponry also. So that's why minimum weaponry is there so that peacefully we can work on development. You understand? So it's not a contradiction. Throughout the world, today, strength respects strength. Okay? Strength, intellectual strength, another is exterior, like weaponry.
So, you spoke about that as leaders we must learn to master our failures, be captains of problems. So when that research project of space where for 1 year, sir, you were grappling, your first takeoff did not go through. So what was that mental challenge, and over the next 1 year that kept you going? What were the value systems, if you could inspire?
Fantastic question. Fantastic question. Very good question. Because that 1 year period, I forgot failure. Okay? First 3 months we spent. First 3 months spent what went wrong. Okay? We identified what went wrong. Then we are busy preparing the next rocket system and satellite to launch. So our work and knowledge addition, they both kept us busy rather than a failure. Failure did not make us delayed. Failure did not become our captain. Our captain was work and knowledge. Okay?
Sir.
Yeah. Yes, this side. One more question this side. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. My name is Vinay. One thing that we talked about is that as a leader, I should be always asking the question as, what can I give you? And personally, myself, and I think many people, we don't know what we have in us to give someone, because it's very hard to find out my own qualities.
Good point. You see, this same question, when I addressed somewhere in Nagaland. In Nagaland, one student got up, and a university student asked me, I am willing to give, what shall I give? What shall I give? Tell me, what shall I give? I told him, you can give 3 things at least. Number 1, in Nagaland, you go 20 kilometers away from your town, there are some villages. People don't know how to read and write. Catch hold of 5 families, tell them how to read and write. Okay? Then where I am with you in Nagaland, I found no trees. Plant 5 trees. By photosynthesis, it absorbs 20 kilograms of carbon dioxide each tree and lets out 14 kilograms of oxygen. Okay? Okay? You are giving that. environment, good environment, you are giving education, then go to a hospital, Nagaland, the hospital, main hospital. There are number of beds. Some people don't go, some people are not visited, they are left. Lot of people go for well-to-do people, but there are some people, nobody goes. Go with a rose, go with fruits, they give them. You are making them happy. You follow? These three things you don't need money. What can I give? I don't need money for all these three things what I said. Of course you can do many things beyond that out. Beyond that out.
Thank you, sir.
The middle people have not asked any question. Middle people, yes. Middle people, this side they have asked, middle people simply no question. And ladies cannot ask questions. Yeah. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. I wanted to ask about the one project, Pura project that you said about the rural urbanization project that you have talked about. What you have suggested in your book also is like, but I mean, it is not happening actually in the reality. So what is stopping it? In spite of so much focus on the rural development, urbanization is happening at much faster pace. That is one part. Second was regarding the political system that we have.
No, we will talk about first question, okay?
Yeah.
First question. First question, Pura, it is, I have seen Chitrakoot Pura in Madhya Pradesh. How the whole nearly 2,000 villages have legal free and how they have got earning capacity through our local crops, the medicinal crops. And a lot of water bodies have been recovered. Similarly, I have seen Pura at Tamil Nadu Pura, EVR Pura, Periyar Pura, and I have seen in Maharashtra Pura, that is Varna Pura. Varna Pura is a valley, Varna Valley. There is nearly 500,000 people live. Nobody, everybody is free from poverty. Everybody free from poverty. So these are all examples for private sector. Now government have started a Pura, the combination of private sector and government working together. Number of Puras are coming, but it's not doing very fast, not movement. What we need is fast action. Okay? Okay, see? Okay. My request is nobody will leave the room.
Professor Anurag to present a vote of thanks and a small memento from on behalf of the
Very good. Sir.
Please wait. One more, sir. One more. Yeah, ready, sir? Yes? Thank you. Thank you, sir.